The 2024 elections in Ghana have concluded with a historic victory for the NDC. John Dramani Mahama has been declared president-elect, while the NDC has achieved an unprecedented parliamentary majority. Despite this success, some constituencies remain contested, and the final results for these areas are pending official confirmation. In this edition of Hot Issues, we track the NDC's journey to victory. Now, the elections have widely been regarded as peaceful and transparent. However, it has also highlighted challenges such as low voter turnout attributed to disillusionment with the current administration. As Ghana transitions into new leadership, there are high expectations for the NDC to deliver on promises addressing economic hardship, infrastructure and accountability. I am Kemeni Amano, and in this edition of Hot Issues, I sit with the man who led the NDC campaign to victory. My guest is Professor Joshua Alabi.
I'm a Ghanaian, and I love luxury accredited faith, and I love democracy.
December 7th, Ghana is voting.
Only peace, peace, I give it to you all.
I love Ghana.
Welcome back to Hot Issues. My guest is Professor Joshua Alabi. He led the NDC campaign to victory in the 2024 election. Prof, you're welcome to Hot Issues.
Thank you. Thank you. You're looking good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good, yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Did you see the victory come at this magnitude?
Actually, first, greetings to your cherished listeners. I must say, I saw the victory after the 2020 elections, coming in 2024.
All the way 2020?
Yeah, I saw the victory coming from there.
How so?
Yeah. You know, 2016, NDC made about 106 or so parliamentary seats. While the MPP made, I think, 169.
169, yes.
169. Okay. So we came to 2020, and the election is not the day of the election or the declaration of the result. It's a process. And so in 2020, if you recall, during the registration exercise, I don't know how you see it, but from our point of view, there was a lot of suppression in the voter registration in our strongholds, especially in the voter region, with the military intimidating our supporters in voter region. And sometimes, some places in the hinterland, like Bandeko, where we have a lot of the Ewe community and the northern community, I mean, it was all over. There was some suppression. Again, in 2020, we had COVID. And but COVID, the government machinery was running. And whilst they were running, they were working. We were able to sleep.
Right.
Yeah, so we were asleep because, I mean, by the regulations and everything, we don't have to come out. Again, so once the government machinery was running, they were also campaigning away, and where they got money from the IMF and all the places, and they used that to campaign. So this with the suppression of the voter registration, and we were released to campaign around somewhere in July. Of course, July to December, you can imagine, where we had to do a crash program. So we did our best to put all our structures in place. But I remember even a week to the election in 2020, we've not had a full complement of our agents, especially in the Ashanti region, let alone to train them, okay, because of the time.
Right.
Yeah, so, and the amount of money they also pump into the system. A place like Northeast, I quite recall from the information that I have, every MPP candidate got close to about 1.5 million to 2, right? And we gave our candidates about 15,000, you know, to go and fight 1.5 million or 1.2 million. So, yeah. But at the end of the results, what happened? What really happened? We pulled them from 169 to 137.
Yes.
And we reduced the gap for about 1 million to about 500. Okay. So when I hear people thinking that they have some magic wand somewhere, it looks funny to me because, I mean, they are not exceptional human beings. And more so when we have run affairs of this country, we've won 2 elections in a row, they've won 2, we also won 2, and won 2. What makes them exceptional?
Exceptional.
Yeah.
Exceptional.
And I used to tell my colleagues that, no, I don't think it will be difficult. So looking at from 2016 results to 2020 and the difficulty that we had in pushing through our 2020 results, which we believe we won, but well, the court said they won. So let's leave that. I was confident that with some work, little work, we could wrestle power in 2024.
Let's talk about that work. What were the lessons of 2020 that you brought into 2024?
A lot of lessons, a lot of lessons. I mean, let's remove the COVID aspect because that was a natural thing.
Yes.
And we slept and slept well at that time. I must say we had to look at the elections and IT directorate very well because from the 2020, we did some work in the whole country, where top officers of the party or top functionaries of the party were made to go to the constituencies to assess the situation very well. I remember I went to Binduri. Again, I went to Kwabri East. I went to Fantiakwa North. I went to Subin. And some other constituencies. What did we do? Well, we were assigned to go to every branch of the constituency to assess what really happened. And in assessment, we realized that some places in the Ashanti region, where we are supposed to have 9 executives in every police station, we call it branch. At the end of the results, we scored 0. So you see, if you have 9 officers in the branch, you score 0.
It means they didn't vote for you.
I can't tell whether they were really our members, but who.
And you are talking about the 2020 election.
Yeah. No, we are talking about the 2020 election. We scored 0. Some 9 executives, but we got 3, 2. Then there's a question there.
Yeah.
Because if we have 9 executives, at least we should score 9, right? And even maybe their relatives and friends, they could bring them on board. So it should be a minimum of 9. But it wasn't so. So there's something we have to do there. So we started work seriously to reorganize the branches, to get the branches in place. And you can see almost every top officer has something to do. We spread all out and got our branches in place. First, we went through another registration process to be a member of the party. And before you qualify to contest as a branch manager, you should have some history in the party. That is, you should have been in the party for some number of years, about 4 years or so. That should guarantee us that you are really a party member to lead us in that particular police station, which is a branch. Okay. So we kept all these reforms there and made sure that we got the branches right. Now, if you have the base right, then you have solved about 50% of your problem, because they are going to work and they are going to make sure that you get there. So that was done. Then we looked at the reorganization of the election and IT directorate too. First, we had election director, and at the same level with the IT director. There was no cohesion. Seriously. So we combined the two to make the election IT director, where there will be an officer who will supervise all of them and make sure that all policies and programs fall in line in that sector. That also worked very well, so that was okay. And through that, there were a lot of, reviews and programs that they do, which really, as we go on, we can come out to some of them. But the IT directorate and nation that did very well. Then we also decided to spread out. We had the flag bearer who happened to be the main person, and he had a very strong team moving with him. And the running mate who had a team, then the national chairman, which never happened before, also had a team. Aside that, the youth wing and other wings also, and the women's wing also had their team, all spread out.
Right.
Then individual groups in the party also did their job by spreading out. So it was
everybody was involved.
We harassed them. We're everywhere. Sometimes we go to a region with the flag bearer, and I see some of my colleagues who are not from our team also there doing some work. Right? So we're crisscrossing the whole country. We're all over. And I think that also did some work for us.
In your vote bank, the voter region, you completely wiped out the current administration, and NPP in that region. Prior to the 2024 elections, there were concerns, particularly from residents in the voter region, that they felt abandoned even by your party while in office. What do you think did the trick for them to do a 360 back to the NDC?
I'm not an account, but sometimes I understand the language, and there's a music that says "me yiri dadan sambe wa." The new one has deceived me. That's the meaning of that song?
Yes.
A very good song. I like that song. We for example, let's look at the stretch there, the corridor, the road that we're trying to complete. They were deceived that we've done nothing for them, right? And we want more from your father, but you don't know what your uncle may give you. You don't know, but you want more from your father. So they were deceived. They took it in. And they decided to go to their uncle, right? But their uncle was too bad. But again, you see, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, 15 years ago, 16 years ago, 17 years ago, 18 years ago, 19 years ago, 20 years ago, 21 years ago, 22 years ago, 23 years ago, 24 years ago, 25 years ago, 26 years ago, 27 years ago, 28 years ago, 29 years ago, 30 years ago, 31 years ago, 32 years ago, 33 years ago, 34 years ago, 35 years ago, 36 years ago, 37 years ago, 38 years ago, 39 years ago, 40 years ago, 41 years ago, 42 years ago, 43 years ago, 44 years ago, 45 years ago, 46 years ago, 47 years we went around all the consensus in Volta region, and at every village, the chief in the opening remarks will tell us almost all the projects in this community was done by the NDC. I was surprised because I was also made to believe that we didn't do well for our brothers in the Volta region. But they will tell you the water NDC, the light NDC, what NDC, and I got surprised. So sometimes I used to discuss that with some of our MPs and candidates. Why didn't we make that noise? And they brought that in, and for that matter, they punished us with Ahoy. But this time around, our brothers came in, and they did nothing for them. It was more of talking. Then they realized that no, our former wife
was better.
better, and our former wife can do better, and we need to go back to our former wife. And that's why he was whipped just like that. Whipped. It was just not only winning the election, but he was whipped because I mean, you can't keep on deceiving the people. But there's something I always say. You see, when it comes to getting the people around you, you know, I used to tell people that a pastor once said there are 3 groups of people that you should be worried about. And I listened to the pastor very well. And when I relate to politics, I quite agree with him. You know, the pastor said there are the wicked ones. The wicked one is a wicked one. He's just wicked. It's to be difficult for you to change the wicked one. Very, very difficult. He's wicked. He wants something, you should not have it. Right?
So who's the wicked one here?
I want to finish, you understand?
Okay.
Yeah. Then he says again that we have the selfish ones. The selfish ones will even go and loot what they don't even need, just because they don't want you to have it.
Right.
So you see them looting all over. Looting, taking. What is this? I take. What is I take? Maybe what they left for us is a transport stadium, but they've taken everything, right? These are very selfish ones. That's things you don't even need. Leave that for the people. You take them. They are selfish ones. So it will be difficult for you to work on the wicked ones and the selfish ones. But the third group that you can work on, the third group, the innocent ones, who were misled and deceived. Okay? So you have your government and somebody comes to tell you, vote for me, I'll give you, every child, 1 egg a day. Of course, it sounds beautiful. Vote for me, 1 district, 1 factory. It's beautiful. Vote for me, 1 child, 1 chocolate. Vote for me, 1 constituency, $1 million a year. So you see, our people didn't sit down to really digest this serious to see how feasible that would be and how possible that would be. And that's why we call the innocent ones. So it was our duty now to now explain to the innocent ones that, look, what they told was a lie, and if you give them again, it will be worse. It will be worse. So our work was more on our innocent brothers and sisters to turn them around, and to some extent in Hohoi, that was done perfectly by our candidates and our group. And that's why we're able to go
Very
through.
well.
Yeah.
And you had an impressive 33% in the Ashanti region.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
I mean, what does that tell you? That the NDC was able to almost meet its target of 35%?
You know, some of us always maintain that the votes we get from Ashanti are not really the votes.
Are not the real votes?
Yeah. There was a particular year where a deputy minister was made to be an agent. Okay? They lifted him from the place and threw him away. And the result that came from that police station was something else. You follow? So this time around, we had a lot of such stories. Okay? And our duty was to make sure that we get those who are arrested to vote. Right? And once we get only those who are arrested to vote, then we have reduced a gap from pardon. That was a key thing to do. So we're very vigilant on that. So sometimes, yes, it's true there was low turnout, but to some extent, the low turnout can be as a result of our vigilance and the fact that we make sure that we don't have people who were not registered voters, or people come to vote 3 or 4, or people putting what do you call it, ballots in their sleeves and finding ways of putting them in. Or at the end of the election, boxes will be used to exchange. You saw that, you know. These were all things that we sat down and we analyzed and realized that, look, if we're able to work on these ones in Ashanti, we get the percent that we want, because it's not possible for only Ashanti region alone to be having about 98% turnout. It's not possible. When the whole nation was around maybe 60, it's not possible. So there must be a fundamental problem that we're not looking at.
So you think that this 33% is the true reflection of the NDC's hold in the Ashanti region?
In this
2024 election,
is a true reflection.
Is a true reflection.
I believe that we are yet to even perfect it. And in the next 2028 election, it might be better than this.
I see. Yeah. What would you consider the toughest moment in this campaign?
There are a lot of tough moments, I must admit. A lot of tough moments. And it's very difficult for me to tell you that this was the toughest moment. This was the toughest moment. But I think that going around with His Excellency, the fact that people were yearning to meet with us, and we also draw our programs. So, for example, we tell you we'll be coming to you at 6 p.m. But on our way to the first constituency, we had people who were blocking us on the way, right? They feel we should talk to them. And that also affects the time.
You mean residents? They want to
for
hear
example,
from you.
You are moving from a constituency to another constituency, and this village is not part of the program. But we are passing through the village. We don't know who tells them.
Yeah.
Before we realize, they block the road and all that. And no negotiation. So the bottom line is that the SNC must get up, top there and talk to them
talk to the people
before it moves. And this affects our time. So there are times that we're supposed to be at a constituency around 6 p.m. and we're there at 2 a.m.
But did that also send a message to you that the people really wanted to hear from His Excellency?
Actually, that kept us going.
It kept you going?
Yeah, because you see, you are going to talk to the people to get their votes, right? And midway, they stop you. They want to hear from you. You talk to them. And you as a result, instead of getting to a particular constituency at 6 p.m., you are there at either 12 midnight or 1 a.m. And they are there in their numbers waiting for you, their chief. Then that points to the fact that, look, they want to listen to us and maybe they are with us. And when we go and they speak, you see clearly that they are with us. And that's why in most of my write-ups, I call it the People's Democratic Revolution. I could see clearly that the people want our brothers out, and nothing, absolutely nothing could stop it.
Which brings me to the question. There are those of the opinion that this election was just handed to the NDC because of the failures of the current administration, the NPP.
Yes, in 2020, they failed. But we didn't win the election because we didn't get enough time to really do our work the way we wanted in 2020. This time we got time. So it is not only about their failure, but your ability to let them know, the people know, that one, they deceived you, two, they have failed, and three, they must go for us to reset this nation. So yes, the failure added to it, but I must say our work also they did the trick. They can fail and you sit in your room and no message and you get nothing from them. So the work and everybody did what he had to do to get us there.
But when you look at the math, the NDC still did is 6 million plus. The NPP, on the other hand, lost over 2 million compared to the 2020 election. And when people look at that math, they say that, well, people didn't turn up for the NPP, but turned up, the NDC's 6 million still turned up for them. So when you combine the math of 2024 and the math of 2020, then it is the NPP people who didn't come. That's why the NDC won.
Like I said earlier, I don't know, I don't have serious empirical evidence to this thing, but that is me as a campaign manager for His Excellency. I think that the 2024 election was overpadded. And that is why they got that. This is a true reflection of the
2020
strength.
election?
Yeah, sorry, 2020, yes. There was a lot of padding.
Okay.
And because 2020 election, they got, Ashanti region produced about what percentage? About 90 something. I mean, it's highly unrealistic. So with this, the figures will shoot up. But with vigilance, the rating will show, and that is your strength. And that is actually their strength.
I see. Now the NDC's won the election. We are looking to swear in the president-elect. But the question on the minds of the Ghanaian people, is what's next?
A lot of work to do. A lot of work to do. At the moment, we are in some crisis. It has to do with the results, especially with the parliamentary seats, where returning officers declare the results. And I've read the allies, and I've not seen recoalition in the ally. And the Electoral Commissioner, Jimensa, trying to recollect, which is very funny to me. And the same Electoral Commission some time ago said, in the 2020 election, that after the election has been declared, if you have any problem, you go to the courts. So that's double standards there.
Yeah.
It's funny, and I mean, we shouldn't tolerate this at all. We shouldn't tolerate this. It's a problem after the election, and this is part of the transitional problems that we have. Again, we have other problems like what I call the institutional paralysis, where maybe in the transition period, the ruling party might be giving information based on their interest. If you don't take care, then you will be getting the wrong information to do your work. This also means that then when we take over, then there must be a thorough analysis of the system before we make any concrete move. Because we may be, if we are to rely on what they are giving us now, if we don't take care, the foundation might be weak for us, and that may cause problem. That is another area that we may have to
Have you noted any attempt in the current transition?
I don't think it will be proper for me to present it now, since we have a team working on that. But I think that they were okay. A lot of them were okay. And we have to do a lot of work. Then the rush in trying to implement their legacy policies. At the moment, you can imagine that you are just going to hand over. You have lost. And you are now employing 500, 600, 700 people. For who? For whose budget? For whose budget? Because we are going to run the country. You have lost, you are going. At least let's be, let's save this country from really trying to pile things. You know, in 2008, President Kufuor just brought in the single spine. And so what happened to the economy, the single spine? Just last minute.
But you dealt with it.
But it was with difficulty. Demonstrations about demonstration. Vulnerable labor hour time was spent on demonstrations, which can be kept into production.
But it seems that's what the parties do. Because you remember when Mahama was leaving, he appointed an auditor general. You remember?
You see, whether we did that or not, there must be a halt to some of these things. And my presence here is to say that I personally believe that these things are wrong, and we should stop them and move forward, right? If we cover up for ourselves, I don't think we have a country to run. And sometimes when we do this and we pamper ourselves with what we do wrongly, then that's why we find ourselves in this mess that we find now. So let's be very practical and move on as a people.
The compromise your side of the transition team is hoping to make is that those appointments and payments should be discussed. Does that sound?
Yeah, it sounds. Let's discuss them. Then we know that, oh, of course, yes, this thing they're talking about is very important and we can go with it. This one we can suspend now and see what we can do about it. Because to run this government effectively, John Mahama's government, we must look at how we must look at the cost of running government. We must be very cost effective in running this government, right? And if they are appointing people that you think that you may not need, but then you have to pay them, there is waste. And we should avoid waste. To reset this country, we should avoid waste. And need strong hands to lead that. Yeah.
Speaking of strong hands, we have heard through the grapevine that people are already positioning themselves for appointments. I wonder what your thoughts are about that at this time.
Well, I've not met with His Excellency to discuss my appointment. So I'm not aware of others. And I tell you, generally, I mean, if you are free with me, you can answer. I've not met him to discuss my appointment or where I'm supposed to be.
But people are,
and
right?
so I may not be, but it is also normal for people to lobby. It's lobbying is everywhere. It's everywhere. But the president is like a football coach, and he has to win, and he has to define a formula to win. So depending on the formula, then he knows where you put my sister here. He knows where you put Mr. B here and C here. So you might lobby for something, but for his angle, you might be good, but for the formula that he's trying to come out with, you might not be effective in that particular position. So you can go about lobbying. At the tail end of it, you may not be kept where you are. And that is where people get shocked, you see. That's why I sit and I tell myself that, look, whatever comes is what one will do. And you just pray that you are in the team and then you do what you have to do.
What considerations would you expect the president-elect to make in forming his new government?
He must take into consideration the fact that he said you have 60 ministers. That must be one. The constitution also allows for regional balance. That is another one. Then competence. Where we have reached is not the normal talk. You know, it's your ability to hold it and move. So competence must be there.
Right.
Loyalty is also equally important because you can be competent if you are not loyal to the cause of the president. You might fail him. So that there are a lot of this that he has looked at.
Where will you place character in those considerations?
Character is very important. It's equally important. Of course, if your interest is to come just because of money, and that is where we all like money. I also like money. We all want to live good, you know? But there's some money you touch, some you don't touch, right? So your ability to know that, look, this is for the people, you don't touch it. If somebody gave me 1 million for you, I should be able to give it to you. Well, if he gives you 1 million for you and he gives me 500,000, the 500 is mine. What I do is not your cost.
So we need honest people.
Yes, to do that. And it's not easy in politics to find people like that, but you can find them.
Does the NDC have honest people to do their job?
You can find them. We have them. You can find them.
While we are on the subject of character and competency, right? We've seen the president-elect before as president. There are those who raise concerns about his administration and he himself, you know, as a person. What kind of president are we getting from 7th January? You were his campaign manager. What kind of a person, what kind of a president will lead us from 7th January 2025?
It's quite interesting. You know, his NC is well focused and he knows exactly what he wants to do. He knows he was there, he was out, and he's come back. And it gave him the opportunity to do a thorough appraisal of his performance himself. And also did another appraisal of what these guys did. And that is assisting to define exactly what we do. So I see a leader who will be better than he was, honestly. And he should be better than he was. He should be better than he was. In fact, you give me an opportunity to run UPSA today, I tell you it will be better than it is. From what I did. Yeah. You follow? Because sitting back, hindsight, there are things that maybe you did that you will feel it will have done this way. And he's, for the first time in this country, he has the opportunity. And I see him doing something that the people will accept. You see, he may not be in the position to solve all the problems. I don't think that is it. But you see, when you set the foundation and you carry the people along, and they understand where you are moving, they will go along with you. They will go along with you. And I want to see him that way, and I believe this is exactly what he will do.
I want us to talk about those expectations, because as we have rightly established from the beginning, the disillusionment we have, or the Ghanaian people have, with the current administration played a crucial role in bringing the NDC back into office. And so how are we weighing I don't want to describe it as a burden, but the weight of that expectation as against the reality, the capability, the ability to deliver over the next 4 years.
You see,
because we need to manage that disillusionment.
We need to, and that is why he said from the outset that in most of the sectors there will be stakeholder consultation for us collectively to define their path. And in defining the path, we all have access to what really went wrong and what happened. Okay, so we all will know that, look, this is what we have, and this is the part that we have agreed as a collective to do. So when you are part of this, the whole country is part of this, then there's joint ownership of the program of His Excellency. And then when when you have a program which comes out of collective ownership, then the people are ready to understand what you have to do, what you want to do, and move with you. If you're able to do that and move along with them, and let them appreciate where we are and where we want to go, and it should be through a discussion, all of us, then the blue paper down. I think that we are ready to go, and that is where you can carry the people along. The most important point is to carry the people along. Ego must be out of this, right? Disrespect must be out of this. Impunity must be out of this, right? So I would say that we have members who think that it's ego matter. Drop it. The people are not ready for. If we appointed a minister, we are going to serve the people. And I will recommend basically that anyone who was appointed should be more of a relationship manager than one who believes that he must sit on the people to push things. No, you don't get the results. But when relationship managers achieve results and they make people understand what they want to do and they move along with them. Different from what we saw, where when you talk, they say, shut up. You do this, they say this. They do this, say this. They will never follow you. And we saw that happen. So I would suggest to most of my colleagues who will be in key positions, try to be a relationship manager. So you move along for people. With the people. Then they'll have patience for you because they understand what you want to do and move along with you.
I see. How do you respond to the assertions that talk time is over? It's time for action. So the proposal that will have consultative processes for growth and turning the economy around, people will not have the patience for that. How do you respond to those who find themselves in such a position?
You see, what happened to the free HSS? Because there was no talk time. They just came and said free HSS were moving. And that's why we have it this way. The talk time in this is part of the action. It's not just talk time, it's part of action. And I also know that people believe in the talk time, especially when it comes to getting all of us to understand and appreciate what is happening and what we have to do. We don't see that as talk time. We see that as part of the action, that the steps that we are taking to reset the country and bring the economy back on its feet. I don't see it as anything that will push the people away, except if you are not asleep and they pour water on you and you say you are still asleep. You still have people like that. There's nothing to do about that.
But practically, right, one of the things the Ghanaian people will be looking out for is that the dollar returns to, appreciable levels, levels that we can manage. Is that what you think will happen? Maybe the dollar will no longer be 17 or 16 or come to 8 or something. Will that happen under your under the administration of the NDC?
It can happen, it will happen. But we have to work towards that. We have to work towards that. One fundamental thing that we have to know, and bringing down the dollar. Some of our young men and women, yes, prefer these economic jargons and GDP, but let's come down to the basic root. It's production. It's production. And when you consume more than you produce, and most of your consumption comes from outside, then it's difficult for you to really manage your dollar.
Right.
And in the program of the NDC, and that was well articulated by His Excellency, we are going to go straight into production. That's why he said, for example, we are going to identify the every community and its comparative advantage. For example, you go to the Bono regions, you see a lot of cashew plantations. And people come from outside, buy them for peanuts, go and process them, and they bring them for about 20 times the price, right? It is not difficult for our farmers or businessmen to own this small-scale processing this thing in the various communities, okay? And once you do that and the people are assured of ready market, then what is going to happen is more production, okay? The 24-hour economy is geared towards production. And that is why His Excellency in his, most of his rounds, he said he's also going to pay attention to the markets. Because when you come out to the 24-hour economy, of course, the main idea is to get a lot of you into business, into work. But the final effect will be an increase in production. There must be markets for them.
Prof, realistically, how long would it take to turn our economy around and increase the value of our currency?
It will be difficult for me to tell you that 1 month, 2 months, and then after 3 months you invite me here to
ask you what happened.
Yeah. But I will tell you that we are going to work and make sure that maybe in a year's time we should start stabilizing things and move forward.
Some stability should come in a year.
We should see it, and we will see signs of that.
I see.
See signs of that. Yeah.
I see. We look forward to that. But let's talk about Parliament also, which will be.
I can get some water. Eh?
Absolutely, yeah. we will get Prof some water, won't we? While the water comes to us, Prof.
Yes.
Let's look at the overwhelming parliamentary majority.
Overwhelming, yes. Yeah. Emphasis overwhelming.
Emphasis on overwhelming. Well, did you go beyond your target? Was that a target?
In fact, you see, when the people want you out, they do and overdo. You know, for example, in Greater Accra, we have analyzed that even though I'm the campaign manager, I come from the Greater Accra region, so I'm in the Greater Accra caucus of the NDC as well. And our target was that we have 26 at that time, and we should do our best to maintain all the 26 and add 5. So our target was 25. But whilst working on the 25, we have to work everywhere to get everything done. And we got about 31, you know. And I was surprised, but not surprised. I was surprised because our target was 25, but I was surprised because we went down the grassroots. We worked, and we saw the feelings of the people and what they intend to do. So the 31 really came as a matter of course. And in other, for example, in Ahafo region, we were there with our team. At that time, they have 6 constituencies. And MPP had 4, and we had 2, right? But after the campaign, and in the middle of the campaign, we realized that, look, we can secure 2 more and possibly work on 1 and make it 5 against 6. Others said, Ahafo, no, it's not our. But we saw clearly that, look, we can work, we can add 2 to our 2 to be 4, and they can get 2. And even the 2, there's 1 that we believe we can also this thing. And it happened, you know. So your performance, right, will give you the mark that you require, you know. And to some extent, I must say the MDC campaigned very well. Good campaign messages. Our presence was felt all over. But I don't know how you put it, and I don't know how for the purpose of television you know like that. But they were trying to work on how to cheat. When we were working.
What informs that? what tells you that your opponent was working on how to cheat?
All over, people will call us. They will call me. Look, and I believe you heard most of these things. We shall vote for you, but protect the votes. I think you heard that yourself. Yeah. You know, so the perception of the people in Ghana is that they are going to vote for NDC, but our guys may try to rig the election. And they beg us. So there are a lot of times on platforms we told people that, look, you do your part, vote and leave the protection for us. And we assure the people that vote and we'll protect it. Okay. We hear a lot of things. They want to do. I think we can't bring them out there, but there are a lot of things that we heard about what they intend doing. And you saw that after election, when you see ballot boxes and what do you call it? When you have to work to convince the people to vote for you, your interest is to go and print ballot papers and stamp them and change. And when you are caught, what next?
I see. So, Prof, I understand what you're saying, right? And if you just joined us, this is Hot Issues. We're having a special conversation with the NDC campaign manager, Professor Joshua Alabi, a very astute politician in his own right. Prof, so I was saying that we saw the vigilance that came along with protecting the vote.
Yeah.
Was there a strategy on how to go about that?
There was.
What was the strategy?
We had a lot of teams. We had a security team, and they were looking at the security implications of whatever I wanted to do. They were there. We had a lot of ground operation teams also define their strategies. And we also said that when you vote and you feel you want to hang around, you hang around but don't cause trouble. The reason behind it is that when you hang around, you can catch those who want to come and change bosses.
Yeah.
We were told that when you would go home and come at 5. No, that's not possible. No. You lose the election in Ghana here.
Oh.
When you vote and go home. So you vote, hang around, but don't cause trouble.
Were there excesses?
From our side?
Yes.
Those who were around? You know, I wouldn't say there were excesses, but when you provoke people, they may not be able to control themselves. You see, what happened after election, that you may call, that I believe that's why you asked, were there excesses?
Yes.
You know, in 2020, a lot of things happened. And areas where there were a little delay in the elections, results were made in favor of the MPP. There were places where our people were shot dead, and nobody said anything. So all this made our people to bottle up. And they said they were not to rate anything like that. The IGP did well because they were going to test this as a sin-off election. And I tell you, if they attempted that, we may not have a Ghana to run at a sin-off election. But I believe all parties got to know what was going to happen. So everybody calmed down and we allowed the system to run. So we got the results. No cheating. So that was the dress rehearsals as to what we'll do in the May election. So the May election, our people had to prepare very well to protect whatever vote they put in the box.
The Electoral Commission translates that as duress, in that in some of the areas where the NDC was even declared winner of the parliamentary election, the commission says that those happened under duress because of the excesses of your supporters who were keeping vigilant.
Go to court and prove it. You don't take decision on this. The word duress is more of a legal word. Me, I'm not a lawyer. Right? Go to court and prove it. And that is what she said in 2020. You know? But this time you don't want to go to court. You want to take the decision. Are you the court? That's what I don't understand about our electoral commissioner. You see, I thought with this overwhelming majority and the defeat of the MPP, she will somersault into somebody good for all of us to forget about the past and move on as a nation. But she's still perpetuating that. That means that it's an agenda that she had, and we must be very careful. And the 2020 election petition that we made, right, and the way it was conducted didn't help her. And it didn't help us too. Come and tell us how you manage your systems there. And they prevented you, they protected you from doing. So she didn't benefit from that, and the country as a whole, we also didn't benefit.
Do you blame?
And that is why we have things like that.
Do you blame the electoral reforms she made leading to the 2024 election, like setting up regional coalition offices?
It wasn't necessary, my sister. It wasn't necessary. You see, do you believe personally, I don't believe in too much bureaucracy. I want it done. Within the legal framework, how can I get it done quickly and move on? That is how I operate, right? So the constituency from previous years, from there, they send the thing straight to, what do you call it, the national. And it's collated there. What is the role of the regional district? And you saw that in 2020, there were problems between, from the constituency to region and to we had problems within the chain. Why do you create this? I personally think that the regional coalition that she added was not good. I don't know what my other colleagues might think, but that is my personal opinion.
You're still campaign manager until the 2024, well, until the president is sworn in January 7th, 2025. Isn't it the case? You'll still be in the lead for the campaign.
Are we campaigning?
Well, you're not campaigning, but the action is still on because we have 9 outstanding constituencies.
Yeah.
If we add the ones that the Electoral Commission has redeclared, then we'll say we have 12 outstanding constituencies.
Yeah.
Do you plan to take, especially the redeclared constituencies on?
We'll take them. We'll take all. But as to whether I'm still the campaign manager, we are waiting for his SSC to dissolve his campaign team. And once he dissolves the campaign team, then we'll all run to our bedrooms and wait for the next assignment.
And which is why I'm asking about these outstanding constituencies.
Yeah, he has not dissolved the campaign team.
Yeah, so you need to see to it that these outstanding constituencies are at the right places, whether it is genuinely to the NDC or genuinely to the NPP. So the ones that she's redeclared, what action will be taken?
It is a legal action.
Okay.
Because the law doesn't allow that. I don't know. I'm not allowed. Is that anything they call ultra-virus? What does it mean?
I believe there is a word like that.
Beyond your powers or something. I'm not a lawyer, but I heard it when I was reading company law in IPS in the 70s.
Right.
So I think that she's gone beyond the powers, and the court must decide on that. It is not the Electoral Commission to decide on that. And any attempt to insist, then you are trying to bring the country into a different system. Because we will not accept that. The law is there. So let's go by the law.
Let's go by the law.
So we won't accept that. Yeah.
I see. I was talking about that, the excesses we have seen in keeping vigil as far as the ballot is concerned. We have stopped seeing them. Did you withdraw all those groups and supporters who had decided that we will go there and ensure that the right thing is done?
In the first place, the counting is over. So those who were there because of the counting will go home. There's no counting. Now, the relevant people are people who have to look at what next, and they are not many, So if you are key in your constituency, you might be key at the time that we're counting, but now other people will be key in other areas. So the numbers will reduce. For example, if there's fire outbreak at the UN building, fire outbreak. The announcement I believe they will make is that all non-essential officers must leave. You follow? And the first non-essential officer is the Secretary General.
Right.
Because he has nothing to do with fire. So at this moment, the non-essential officers in this will now stay back, and then the essential officers to manage this will take control. So the numbers will reduce. And
Prof, we're winding down our conversation now, and I want us to look at those who lost their lives to this election.
Yeah.
How have you, as campaign manager, been processing those deaths?
Very unfortunate. We don't need to get there. I thought we learned something from the 2020 election. And it is also because people were not punished after the 2020 election. And the fact that officers of the NPP at that time also made some derogatory remarks after the murdering of the 8 people has made them believe that you can still do and go away. For example, the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament, I quite heard him in 2020. He said criminals. Mate, how do you call people criminals? People who have come to vote and they want to see to it that the process goes through correctly, and as a result, you kill them, and you come on national television and you tell the world that criminals. It should be your brother before you call people criminal. So they have done it again, and they started from the area or so West Wagon free. They did that in 2020 free, and look at what they've done again. Right. So it is the work of our president and the NDC government to stop this. And stopping this means that we have to go into all this and make sure that the right thing is done and the people who did that are brought to justice. So justice will be sought for the people who have died, including 2020. Justice must be sought. Justice. I mean, you don't kill innocent people like that and then you call them criminals. Why? Why? Prof, thank you for coming. Professor Joshua Alabi is my guest here on Hot Issues. If you missed this edition, remember there's always a playback on Facebook and on YouTube. I'm Kemeni Amano, and this is Hot Issues.